It's got to start with me just ranting, or not ranting, but just
I'm okay with this.
fanboying, I guess.
Let's do it.
But, I talked about this last week, 2 weeks ago, just a little. I mentioned, I guess. Riot's League of Legends Arcane animated series came out. Over 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Something like that.
The first 3 episodes dropped, and then this last Saturday, the second 3 episodes dropped. It's a 9-part series, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Bless you.
Gesundheit.
But
That's a gross one.
you got more?
Yeah, I think I do.
So usually when he sneezes, there's like
It's
4 or
usually
5.
like 5, yeah.
Maybe not. I'm good.
You
Sure?
good?
You good?
Yeah, I think I just.
Oh,
Alright.
God. Oh,
That's nasty.
that's disgusting.
I'll be right back.
Oh, you guys should have
man.
just
That was-
seen the massive wad of snot on his
That was
sleeve.
lovely. Good job, Logan. Thanks for showing that. That made me not hungry anymore.
That's. Ugh.
Oh, Logan. Continue.
You sneezed all 5 of your sneezes in that one.
That's what I think.
That was just like a normal sneeze times 5 or 6.
Yeah,
That was
that
disgusting.
was great.
God,
But
Logan.
yes, Arcane dropped, and I'm obsessed. It's freaking amazing. Like I already told you, I was kind of into the lore of League of Legends before,
Yeah.
and the world building, the animation, art style, just character development, all how it switches between characters, and the story that's being told is just so good. Emotional, action packed, it's just all around great, and I recommend highly everyone watch it. It's freaking great so far. But I just kind of wanted to, instead of going on me fanboying about that anymore, but I just wanted to throw in a little talk about the art style, because it's I don't know if any of you have seen any of like Riot's League cinematics or anything that come out all
Their
the time.
cinematics are usually really, really cool.
Fantastic, dude.
Yeah.
They do. They've been doing lore and character cinematics for a while now.
Yeah.
And they've started into Riot music, so music cinematics for like their kind of like Vocaloid groups, digital groups like KDA and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they do a world cinematic. Every world comes around. That's the championship, by the way. And everyone looks forward to that every year, And they're top tier awesome. But the art style, it doesn't get any worse for Arcane. It probably gets better. It's very, very fluid and cool and stuff, but it's really painterly. It's like, so it's painted on. It's kind of like brush strokes and stuff a lot.
Yeah, okay.
But it's really, really nice. But a cool thing that I noticed is that all of the like effects, like steam and fire, explosions, lightning, all that kind of stuff is all 2D. So on top of the 3D, like it looks fantastic. It's really, really cool. I found it to be awesome. That's, I'm a design guy, so
Yeah.
I like
Oh,
all
yeah.
that kind of stuff. But just with talking about that, I don't know, do you guys have a favorite art style or animation style that you see in TV or video games or something that, really kind of blew you away when you played it or watched it?
I think we've kind of had this conversation or one similar to it before, and I brought up Borderlands 2, and the Borderlands series in general.
Cell shading.
I love the
Yeah.
cell shading art style in video games. I think the way that it moves is so cool.
Sure.
Because it looks great in comic books, but there's just something about it when you see it moving that makes it so much better.
Yeah.
I think. So that's definitely going to be one. Otherwise, God, there's a ton of things where just like the art style is so unbelievable, and it in its own right too. Because there's different games. It doesn't look realistic, like Sea of Thieves.
Sure.
It doesn't look real, but it's not like a total cartoon. Like it is, but like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I really like that art style as well.
Yeah.
And just different stuff, like when it's unique, I guess. Because there's
Sure.
so many games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, and like where they go out of their way to try to make it look realistic. I like the games where they go out of their way to make it their own thing, and
Sure.
they kind of put their own twists on things, or just kind of do it their own way. Because there's so many hyper realistic games out nowadays, and so many hyper realistic things out that I really, really enjoy when they actually take it and they go their own direction.
Yeah.
And that's something like Nintendo's really good at, like with the art style in...
Breath of the Wild.
Well, Breath of the Wild was one, but I was going to say more specifically, Link's Awakening.
Oh,
on
I
the
love
Switch.
that, the diorama.
On the
version.
Switch, like the remake of that was
Yeah.
beautiful. You know, like that's one of the most beautiful games I've played, and it looks. It doesn't look real, you know, because it's obviously not. But like, I love how they took it and they made their own thing. Like they weren't trying to imitate something from a different game. They weren't trying to be like, hey, you know what? We want it to look like this game. They're like, you know what? We're gonna make it unique and we're gonna make it our own thing. And I adore that they did that.
Well, my response is actually the Legend of Zelda series. Every single game has its own artistic style to it or aesthetic. And I just love how they do that. Like, each one is aesthetically different from any other. You know?
Yeah.
Like, if you look at Wind Waker versus Twilight Princess versus Skyward Sword versus Breath of the Wild, they're all very unique in their approaches. Of them, I have to say, like, I hated the controls, but I loved the look of Skyward Sword. I really love that, like,
Is that the one
watercolor painting
Is
style.
that the one on the Wii?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was the one that was just remade here not
Yeah.
long ago. I love the artistic style of it, the coloring. It looks like it's a watercolor painting that's being played out in front of you, pretty much, just with 3D modeling and whatnot. I love how it looks. It's really cool. I hated the gameplay of it, though. Well, not hated, but I feel like they fell short, even still with their HD remake.
Sure.
I feel like there was actually things that were better on the old version. Like that stupid pumpkin toss. I hate how the bow
That
works
game
in the new one.
sucks. I hate
You
that
know?
one.
You know?
So Weston, correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm trying to think right now, and I haven't played this specific level in literally years. Like I think it's been 10 or more years since I've played this. Do you remember in Oblivion when you go into the painting?
Yeah.
That
With
was
the trolls.
that was like a painted look, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be painterly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was trying because it didn't have the graphics of the rest of Oblivion, so that's okay. You said it looked like a watercolor being played in front of you. My first thought was that painting level in Oblivion, but then I couldn't remember.
That'd be more oil painting.
That'd be
yeah,
more oil,
but yeah, it's still painted though.
Yeah.
And I was like, it clicked in my head, like, oh yeah, that was in Oblivion, you know, something similar.
I
So
can't-
that was.
I can't think of it, but I watched this YouTube series a lot called Corridor Digital. They're like a VFX studio,
I've heard of
and they
them
do like a
before.
lot of like breakdowns and like VFX shots. And I haven't seen this movie, but what I've seen of it, it looks awesome. I can't think of the
Brush
title.
with Death.
I need to figure it out.
Yep,
And when
that's
I
it.
do, I'll let you guys know. But it's like, I want to say it was like Tom Hanks is in it, but like he's looks real, but he's in like it looks like a Van Gogh painting, and like he looks super real, but the world around him looks like a painting, and it's like really cool, the art style. I'll have to try to find the video and show you guys, but like it's really well done, and it's really cool.
Nice.
So I'd say that was probably one of them for me.
Yeah.
But
That's great. Yeah. I tend to. You don't see this a lot, like with AAA titles for the most part, like where they go in really interesting, art style or animation style in that direction. You see it a lot with indie games.
yes.
Just a few that I remember offhand. Do you guys remember Firewatch?
Yes, that's one of the games that I know I have it and I wanted to play it, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
That was
But
a beautiful.
don't actually think
indie
I
art
remember
style
that one.
game.
yeah, everything I've seen from it looks incredible.
Yeah, it's
for sure.
It's really warm tone colors like
Lots of yellows
monochromatic
and
and red, yellow, orange.
Yeah.
Like it looks really cool. You just you'd have to check it out sometime and see
Yeah.
what you guys think. But those indie games that kind of are like cult classics now. Like you remember Limbo?
Yep. Limbo
That
is a good
was
one.
really cool. Just the
Unraveled was kind of cool too.
Mhm.
I like that.
that contrast, light and dark, shadow, where that's pretty much all that the world is light and dark, white and black, and like all the monsters come from the dark, so you can't see them half the time. Like that was really cool. That was innovative when it came out. Limbo was, I think, the first game that I remember that came out like that. It kind of spewed into a bunch of other ones after that, but yeah, just that interesting, unique art style that you don't usually see. That kind of stuff. That
Yeah.
catches my eye. I love that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think another movie I can think of that did it well is Scott Pilgrim. It brought like that
Oh, brought the
like the comic book
Yeah.
like art style and like the classic
Sure.
tropes of comic book stuff, and it was very artsy and
that reminds me actually, with the whatever the whole POW graphic novel kind of stuff. Or whatever, but speaking of like freaking beauty and great animation, Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh,
was so
yes.
good.
That
Oh,
is such a good movie.
agreed.
So freaking
Wonderful.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's
That's
an animated
actually
movie,
so.
if you haven't watched it.
There's a VFX breakdown from Quarter Crew that they
I've
that,
watched a bunch of
and it's actually crazy because the detail they put into the movie. So the first scene where Miles is first learning how to swing, they drew him at like, is it like 12 frames per second?
I can tell. Because
And-
I have seen bits and
but-
pieces of that movie,
yeah.
and the frame rate of it just drives me nuts.
Well, no. So
It's
get
not the
this.
frame rate.
It's
Something about
Miles is done at 12 for the first half of the movie, but the whole movie's done at 24. But then when Miles becomes actual Spider-Man and like he hones his powers, they bump him up to 24 to show.
So maybe that's why I didn't
It's
like it
actually
the parts
really
I
cool.
saw. It was because he just seemed out of place,
No,
and I didn't
know
like
what,
that.
I know what is getting to you, to be honest.
Okay.
It's the whole point of the first like foundational thought making this movie is that they want to eliminate motion blur.
Mm-hmm.
So they eliminated motion blur throughout this whole movie. There's no motion.
So it's
blur.
24 frames a second with no motion blur, so it makes it look.
It makes it look like it's from a comic book.
Yep.
Movie.
See, I
No, they added instead of motion blur, they added stippling and or what is it? What's the term? I can't remember.
Ink blots and stuff.
No.
Or-
Not cross hatching. That's something else too.
It's
Yeah.
not my specialty, so I can't help you on this one.
I can't remember, but it's parts of comic books and stuff. Or whatever.
Yeah.
You can look it up. They explain it way better than me. I can't remember what I'm talking about, but
Mhm.
it's so fantastic. So it makes it look different than normal
Yeah, and-
animation. It makes it look like the source material.
Yeah, the bits and pieces that I've seen of it,
You need to
I
watch
just
the whole thing, dude.
Yeah.
I understand that, but like I said, just from what I've seen, like the frame rate and just the way that it moved, it threw me off so much, and I couldn't. Oh, there's something about it, and it's hard for me to explain.
It's so
It didn't
good.
look fluid, and it
The
bugs
thing
me.
is, it was
It was
very-
really fluid.
It was.
fluid.
But it
and, like,
didn't look like it
incredibly
though.
fluid.
No, it was
But, like,
incredibly fluid.
I just thought that was so cool, like how to visually show that Miles is not, he's
Yeah.
new to this and he's not, very graceful in the way he moves. They like did that, and that you see that when you rewatch it too. You're like, oh, he does look more choppy than Peter does, and it makes sense. And then when you see him,
Before he becomes Spider-Man.
when he becomes Miles Morales Spider-Man, he gets that fluidity, and it's awesome.
No, it's really
It
cool.
was-
Just the. Sorry, I cut you off there, Weston.
No, go ahead.
No, just the attention to detail throughout the whole thing. Just giving, the source material its due. Like, it was really, really cool. I think, if I remember correctly, it was like 10 to 15, like 12 seconds or something like that. They spent a year to get 12 seconds that they liked.
They did that with a scene in Star Wars Episode 3 as well, where they spent like an
Should've
insane
spent
amount.
longer.
It was the scene where on the it was the scene with the Wookiees fighting the droid, and the two Wookiees came swinging in and landed on that droid ship in the water. Apparently, that took like 8 months to do that 5-second deal.
Yeah.
I remember saying a thing about
Right
that.
at the beginning of the project, they wanted to make sure that they got what they were looking for. They found a style that would work the entirety of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was exactly what they were looking for. What they wrote down for their first hypothesis for everything going on.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it took like over a year or something to get like 12 seconds or 15 seconds or something that they thought was okay. This
Yeah.
is what we need to do.
That's
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Which that's
awesome.
perfection right there.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Can you
I
imagine, though,
appreciate
just
that so much.
the mindset, like I feel like I would go crazy if I worked on the same 12 seconds of a movie for a year. Like if I go into work every single day for a year straight and I'm working on the same little 12-second snippet, I feel like I would drive myself insane.
I don't know.
I get the perfection, I get it. I
It's
I
really
know
cool.
Yeah,
I like
it's
that.
very
But
well.
I
I'm not-
definitely
I'm not doubting
considered
that at
the animation that to be masterpiece level.
Yeah.
it's-
Like it was
It is.
phenomenal. It was
Very-
very
very
well.
good.
I'll have
done.
to give it a second shot
You
because
really
I
gotta just
You
watch
really
the whole
do.
movie, man.
yeah, because like I said, the little bit I saw,
Animation,
I just
the art style.
It's on
just the
Disney Plus,
throwbacks to
right?
Different
Yes.
characters.
No, not yet.
it's not on
Not
Disney
yet.
Plus yet.
Not
It's
yet.
movie on Netflix still.
I think it's on Netflix right
Oh,
now.
I don't have
I have
Netflix,
the
so
DVD if you want it.
But
oh, of course you do. Dan has a
So good.
Dan has a binder like this thick, just full of DVDs.
As
like,
all should.
As all should.
he has. How many do you think you have?
I don't know, 400 maybe.
Is that all? I would have guessed like 700 or 800.
I haven't bought any for a long time. because it's becoming not such a big thing anymore, and
Yeah.
movies haven't been coming out for a while.
Okay, that's
either,
fair.
So,
That's
but yeah, no, that is top tier for me.
Yeah, very well done.
Top tier. I'm excited for the next one coming out. So
Same.
Yeah, another art style that I really like too, and I know I brought this up 2 weeks in a row now, but It Takes Two. The way that like you're a clay doll and one's
Yeah.
a wooden doll, and the way that you move through this world, like where the environment is cartoony but realistic at the same time, if that makes sense. And I love that. And then another one that's very similar would be Grounded. Have you guys played that at all? Where you're it's like Honey, I Shrunk
I
the
know what
Kids,
you're talking
Yeah,
about. I
I've seen
haven't
that
played it myself.
yeah, so like that looks incredible because like they put so much of a depth of field because you're so small. You know, it's like everything behind what you're looking at is super blurry, and it just because, like I said, you know, if you're this big, obviously, you know, things are gonna look way farther away. Even though like it's like a blade of grass away, but it looks like it's miles, and I love how they made it look.
Yeah.
And that's another one too.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think a look at one that's coming out soon that's very controversial is Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. I actually
I love how
really
that
love the
looks.
art style. Of
I
that
love
game.
how that
I
looks.
haven't even looked too much. Into it, to be honest.
I love that they're going back to the top-down approach, and it's
Yep.
very
That's my fan.
it's very
favorite.
much
You're gonna like this.
There.
it's very much just like Link's Awakening. It's got this kind of same feel to it. It's not as like
Not as diorama.
diorama, but it's
But,
very like
yeah.
chibi, like stuff like that. But it's like I love that because I love the top-down perspective of Pokemon games, and also when you go into battle, like it looks so beautiful. Like the battle scenes look the best they ever have. The models look insanely good. So I'm really excited for that game.
Here, I will. I'm just gonna pull up a little snippet of gameplay so you can see. Because honestly,
Well-
like he said, with that top-down perspective and everything, I do really, really enjoy it. Of course, we get an ads before I can show you, but
Wow.
All right.
And then another art style that I really loved, I saw it in a video game, but it was actually something I loved long before that. It was actually in movies. Studio Ghibli. I love a lot of their art style. And then they came out with a
Great.
game called Ni no Kuni,
Ni no
Wrath of the
Kuni,
White
yep.
Witch.
Yes.
I fell in love very quickly.
Yep.
Okay?
Oh.
Like the story, it was practically playing through a Studio Ghibli movie, you know? And I loved it.
think I've seen this, yeah.
For the record, Ni no
looks
Kuni
not bad.
2,
Yeah.
not as good. It's because the Studio Ghibli I hear stepped out. I'm not sure, like I didn't do too much more depth of research into that, but it lost a lot of that heartfelt storytelling that the first one had.
Yeah.
Like the first one, it felt like you were in a Studio Ghibli movie, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love the art style of it. It was very smooth and it was beautiful, you
Yeah.
know?
Oh, I love those movies. Spirited Away is
So-
one of my favorite movies. I love that.
I
Film.
yeah. One of my favorites would be
This is the arcane art style, if you're looking.
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah,
It's really well done.
Really, really like it.
That's
Like,
really cool.
Very
That is
interesting
really
for
well
sure.
done.
Yeah, I like that.
It's really cool. It's got still a realistic style to it,
Mhm.
like, obviously for video game animation.
Yeah.
But like, it's very painterly.
yeah.
Yeah,
They
I like that. That looks really good.
yeah, it's here's a little
And
bit
I
of your
do-
2D on 3D.
I was gonna say I like the contrast there. It really makes it pop.
It does a lot. But yeah, recommend that.
All right, cool. So after that's
We can go. We can move
been
on.
20
Yep,
minutes
move on.
already, so
Okay.
this doesn't feel like the topics are going 20, 25 minutes apiece. But
No,
they-
because
they
we've had
def-
good topics.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
definitely
We're gonna
have.
do it. Talk
Good
about
discussion.
stuff that goes a little bit further than the topic sometimes.
Yeah, which is
It's
great.